Hello, hockey fans. It's Five for Talking, the hockey show where we talk about hockey. And I'm here with Bargo. I'm here with Caps, the captain of the show, Muscles Marinara, the sauce boss. So let's just get right into this and maybe talk a little bit of hockey. I feel like we should save Leaf stuff towards the end. So there's not too much here in terms of news. I mean, you do have the couple of trades that Colorado has made now. The first one being Manson to Colorado. Manson from Anaheim to Colorado. Sorry. But what do you guys think of that trade? Well, actually, I'll tell you what you got first. You got Drew Hellison and a second round pick going to the Ducks.
That is a win for Colorado.
Oh, that's a fantastic.
There is nothing else to say other than the fact it just makes them even better. Some people think that there's a goalie situation, but solidifying the defense just helps the goalie even more. In this case, they'll be able to move people out of the way. They'll be able to tie up sticks. They'll be able to help the goalie out even more so that the goalie can just concentrate on what he's doing. But this is a monster for Colorado. And I didn't even think that they had the cap space to do this, but apparently they do.
For me, I think it solidifies them as one of the best defenses in the league at this point.
Like I showed you the pairing in the group.
They're pretty nasty. They also made another trade, which to benefit for Caps' point. So they traded Tyson Jost to the Wild for Nico Sturm, who's like a big power guy. Neither one are getting points this year. But it freed up $1.25 million in cap space, and they now have somewhere between 2.4 and 2.6 million in cap space in Colorado.
Joe Sakic has done such a great job managing the cap space in Colorado, man. Kudos to him, man. Like, it's just, this is probably their best year to win it all.
Well, I mean, is Landeskog going to be back though? Because he's out with injury. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure he's shut down for the rest of the regular season.
Well, time will tell. I mean, they could be pulling a Vegas and just, hide half of the team away just to clear up cap space so that they can play Eichel.
Get into the playoffs and just start them, right?
Yeah.
I think with or without Landeskog, still to this point, they're still a threat in the playoffs period.
Yeah, they're right now the best team in the NHL easily.
What is the situation with Landeskog? Just for the people that don't know.
You know what?
Check it out right now.
I can check it. You know what? I had it all ready to go, and then I figured we're not even going to talk about the Landeskog. So
you brought it up.
I know. That was my own fault, but I know they for sure. I know that there's no timeline set for him to come back, and from what I heard, rumors that he won't be back for the rest of the regular season at all. But he's not on injured reserve yet because the cap space hasn't been freed up.
But what was the injury? Do you guys know? Was it a knee injury?
Knee surgery.
Yeah.
Knee surgery.
Last update for him was knee surgery, out indefinitely.
Wow. This can open up the door for somebody.
Claude Giroux.
Well, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what a lot of the rumors are saying right now because they're going to not go for the goalie and go for Giroux, and it will fill up that spot at center for them.
Yeah, the timeline for him is hoping to be back in time for the playoffs, first round of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. So I mean, that is what it is. The other trade seemed like a cap space trade, and Yost is not doing anything this year. So like, whoop-de-doo for that. Breaking news actually, Alexander Ovechkin has just passed Jagr for third all time, 767 goals, and he did it in almost 500 less games. That's crazy. So yeah, good on him too. He is currently 13. He's 12 games behind Gordie Howe and about 34 goals. So, I mean, the guy's a beast. We can't deny his goal scoring skill. I mean, we don't really. I don't know if anyone wants to talk about that. That was kind of off the cuff because it just basically happened. So I mean,
I mean,
that is
I
what
don't
it
want to
is.
get political or anything, but the accomplishment is great. Unfortunately, if you were to ask him if this would have happened 3 weeks ago, he probably would have been celebrated even more. But with these days, with what's going on, I mean, yeah, it's yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know.
see that making a difference.
Maybe in your eyes.
I mean, yeah, sure, I guess.
Okay,
Uh,
sure.
yeah, I still don't see it. But anyways, moving on with this. So Vegas right now has 7 people on injured reserve, which is pretty crazy. So Robin Leonard and Riley Smith just got put on injured reserve, which is their starting goalie and one of their best wingers. On top of the fact that Mark Stone, their probably best player, Alec Martinez, one of their best defensemen, Brady McNabb, another one of them, Matthias Janmark, and Brett Howden are all on IR. Pacioretty has been missing games left and right all season. And Nolan Patrick just got reactivated off the injured reserve. What do you think the ramifications are for Vegas as far as the rest of the season? Obviously, I think they're still going to make the playoffs, but
I think it just comes down to how they manage the situation. Like, don't try to bring them back early, especially if you're in a playoff spot. Let them heal up and let's get them on the ice for playoffs, right? We've seen what Vegas has done in the playoffs in the last few years, like even from entering into the season, they're a threat. So, I mean, if they get healthy and stay healthy, it'll change the whole thing around too for them. If they continue to stay injured like this, and I don't know if the players have nagging injuries or they're soft injuries, whatever the case, or maybe they're trying to make a move at deadline, freeing up cap space with all these guys off and try to bring in a few big studs, right? Who knows?
Caps.
Um, yeah, I mean, Bargo's just pretty much said everything, so there's nothing for me to add on to that. Just over the fact that if they're all healthy come the playoffs, they're going to be a tough team to beat.
They do have a great team. Plus, they have Eichel right now. The only thing I'm thinking, like in my head, I was like, oh, maybe they can go out now and load up because if they keep some of these guys on injured reserve till the end of the year, but then at the same time, it's like, who do you trade because all your guys are on injured reserve?
They're probably still stacked on picks too, right? So, I mean,
it's going to be picks if it's anything.
there's wiggle room. They probably have good young talent as well because they've been drafting decently with all the picks that they've had available as well from their entry into the NHL. So, I'm not sure exactly, but I don't see them having nothing to trade. It's not possible.
Fair enough. Okay, so does anyone have anything NHL related before I push on to Leafs? Bargo, you want to give your stats?
Okay. I wasn't sure when I was coming in at the end or at the
You
beginning.
might as well. It's NHL.
All right, let's get her done. So we'll go right into league leaders here. Let's talk about points. So currently right now, a little change from last week. So you got McDavid, 83. Huberdeau tied in first with 83. Landeskog dropped down to third, 81. Gaudreau, 78. And Austin Matthews, 77, jumped up on that board.
Yeah. He's looking like he's going to have a
Goals.
50-90 season.
Who, Matthews?
Yeah.
Goals. He's got 45. He's first. Draisaitl second, 39. Kreider, 38. Kyle Connor, 37. And Ovechkin with, I think he'll be up today, but currently listed at 36. Apples, you got Huberdeau, 65. Panarin, 52. Gaudreau tied in second with 52. And then you got Kadri and McDavid tied with 51. We'll go right into goalies. Goalie wins. So you got Vasilevsky, 31. Freddie Anderson not far behind at 30. He's tied with Bobrovsky in second. Then you got Shesterkins, 29, tied with Jagr, 29. Save percentage. You got Dominguez, 976. Lindgren from St. Louis, 958. Shesterkins, 938.
Wow.
Tarasov, Columbus, 937. And Sparks, 936 in fifth. And then go right into shutouts. Shutouts. Markstrom got another one. He's got 9.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's Vezina worthy.
He's probably gonna get it.
Yeah, I think so too. You got Sorkin in for the Islanders. He's got 6. Kemper 4, tied in 3rd with Campbell and Fleury, all with 4.
Isn't it crazy how good of a season Sorokin's having and they still suck? I mean, that
Can't do it
tidbit
all,
fact
man.
that I shared was pretty crazy between them, but we won't get into that. So we'll go right into Leafs talk. So tonight they started Shelgren is their backup goalie. Yes, that's how you say his name. And Shelgren. And they started him. Guy has almost no experience in terms of the Leafs seeing him. And he came in and they won now at with the game just finished. They won 4-0. He had 35 shots on net, and from what I saw of the game before I came over here, he was doing pretty well.
I watched the tail end of it. I didn't really see him getting much shots when I tuned in, but
it didn't look like he had a lot
saves.
of difficult situations. But when I saw how the number of shots, I was like pretty surprised. 35.
Yeah, 35 shots. It's a hefty amount. So I mean, it's not bad at all. It's a good shutout for 35 saves. Definitely.
Yeah, I
especially
agree.
against Dallas, who they can score.
Yep.
It's not like they lost to. Sorry, it's not like they beat the last place team. They shut out.
I agree. Cap, do you have anything?
I just caught maybe a period, a little over a period, and I think the biggest difference was that the team played well in front of them.
Yeah, I said, they didn't have like a crazy amount of like insane chances on him. It was more just like an abundance of shots.
Perimeter, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
And that's the difference between what they're doing in front of him than what they're doing in front of the other 2 guys.
Yeah, but it's comfort too, right? So like you bring in this goalie that has no experience, little to none. You don't know what he's all about, and you have to go that extra mile, maybe sticking out a toe to block a shot or doing a stretch that you normally wouldn't make because you're like, oh, we got Campbell in the net, like, you know what I mean? So you kind of sit back and relax. But now maybe you have everyone on their toes playing upbeat because there's a change, right? Maybe you have to make a difference, thinking that okay, they can't take this chance because this goalie, we don't know if he's going to stop it or not. But they believe in Campbell. And I think that's where it comes strange to me thinking like this, as well as Campbell and Mrazek. I always say Campbell, but Mrazek as well, same idea. Mrazek as well, it's kind of, they're not making the save, so you should be making that effort. Why aren't you, right?
And that's the whole point. The fact that they are making that extra effort for this guy, they should be doing the same with the other 2 guys, because if you're doing that with the other 2 guys, the likelihood of you winning games goes up. So as a team, you need to take those extra steps. You need to block those shots. You need to do all the things you need to do as a team to help your goalie win the game.
I don't think it matters goalie, team, anything. I think Caps has a good point that it doesn't even matter who your goalie is. You're supposed to win games. You're not going to win games unless you're trying. Why would you not try because your goalie's in net? I mean, I'm not doubting that Bargo's theory is what's happening, but it just seems stupid from a hockey player point to be like, oh, I'm comfortable with this guy, I'm not going to help him. But that seems like to be what's happening.
Right? Like, you get a new coach.
Yeah,
the team plays different the first game.
Here's the thing: I watched a few things to make sure I was up to date on stuff, and I happened to be watching the Real Kipper and Bourne podcast on Sportsnet, and Justin Bourne was saying that he's like, "Don't you think it's weird? They listened to Sheldon Keefe talk about how confident he was in Shelgren, and I was like." It doesn't really make sense. And he said the same thing. Justin was like, how can you have confidence in a guy that you know nothing about? He's like, you've seen him play for like a combined total of like 60 minutes worth of hockey. And you're just going to start him today based on you believe that he's ready, but you don't even know anything about him. And I was like, that's a pretty good point, because if he does good, you're going to take credit like you knew this the whole time. And if he does bad, you're going to be like, well, he's an AHL goalie. We'll just cut him and bring up somebody else.
Well, maybe Sheldon Keefe was just saying BS for the sake of the media.
Which is definitely possible, 100%.
If I were in his position, I would take the chance. And if I'm going to be honest, this guy should have started on Saturday. Sunday. They should not have waited until today because obviously it just looks like Mrazek's having a tough time. I think he just said what he said just for the sake of saying something to the media. So,
in favor of the team, like kind of like buy-in.
Yeah, and I understand that too. But it's kind of like when you have all eyes on you and you're just spitting out gibberish, it kind of looks bad on the team. But I understand that.
Looks bad on him, in my opinion.
Also, they did mention something that I thought was worth bringing up. So the Leafs over the last few games have been moving Liljegren around the lineup, including having him on the top pairing. And he's been arguably the worst defenseman out of the entire 6 guys that are playing. But for some reason, they keep taking out Dermott. They keep taking out other guys. They're moving all these guys around, but Liljegren still has a solidified spot on the roster. And do you guys see what's special about him in any way that they seem to be doing this?
Could be trade bait.
That's yeah.
I was caught off by this question. I didn't know we were going to ask this question, but I'll go with Bargo on this one. And
yeah, well, I mean,
the other thing is, if, in order to develop someone, you got to keep playing them. I think cycling them out with Dermott is probably wouldn't make a difference. But I think Bargo was right because in this case, every other team that Toronto has inquired about a defenseman with, they're asking for a top prospect and a pick. I don't know. It just seems to me, I think that he's just showcasing Liljegren just so that he can possibly make a deal for a defenseman.
I see it like that. I see it 2 ways.
Yeah.
I see that, and I see them trying to get him rolling. Like how you shop a guy around, like from first line to second line to third line to first line to try to get something out of him to get him moving.
Yeah, I mean, those are both fair points. I didn't really come into this with like that's my thought, but I just saw that question got asked a few times. The Leafs right now are number 1 in the league for least amount of time spent in their own zone with the opposition with the puck, which is crazy because there's like 16th or 17th for goals against. So this is just a throwing out there question as well. Do you think the Leafs could work with an offense? I mean, a defense that plays with a full offensive style, like kind of how basketball teams have a run and gun offense, but don't play any defense at all, and just try to keep the puck in their zone the entire game without actually having to play any defense? Do you think that's a possibility?
Yeah, I think that's a possibility, but Bargo's made this point many, many, many times. The fact is that they do make mistakes in the offensive zone, and the defense gets caught every once in a while pinching. So,
and that's why they don't have a lot of time in their zone.
Fantastic answer. That's a fantastic answer.
So it's possible, but what are the odds of them actually, keeping possession of the puck 60 minutes out of the game?
I think that's a really good answer. I didn't even think of that in my own head either.
Yeah.
Well, even if you look at the game, sorry, Bargo, but even if you look at the games, if you look at percentage possession wise, it's always like, I always look at it as like 65-35 or 70-30. It's crazy because I know you just brought this point up about possession. I'm not surprised. I really am. Not surprised. I mean, looking at the game tonight, most of the time was being spent in the offensive zone. So I think it is possible. But the fact of the matter is you need a defense that can control the point, that won't get caught on the pinch, that can cycle the puck very well in order for this to stay successful going into the playoffs.
Yeah. And tonight, I believe they played, his name is Lyubushkin, right?
He's good, man.
I believe they put him with Riley today on the first pairing. And I saw a few people talking about on Twitter saying that this is what the Leafs should have done the whole time. The first pairing doesn't need to be 2-star defensemen. It should be your best defenseman on paper, Morgan Riley, with a guy that's going to cover up for his mistakes. And I feel like that's a pretty good pairing, to be honest with you.
But Morgan Rielly is that guy that we're talking about that can, be involved in the play in the offensive zone. He can hold that line.
Yeah, but you don't need.
He's got caught a couple of times. I'm
Agreed.
not gonna lie,
yeah, but it's better. I feel it. I'm more comfortable him being with, like a Ron Hainsey type than or what's the other guy that we just got rid of? Sorry, that we didn't re-sign. Oh my gosh, Bogosian, like that.
But he was on the third. He was on the
I know, but I'm just saying, like, with a guy that's with him that knows his role and knows that his job is to make up for the other guy who's going to make mistakes.
I think Brody is a really good pairing. Unfortunately, and I can understand what Keith is trying to do. He's trying to spread it out a little more,
which makes sense.
Which does make sense because I'm sorry, Hall is,
hey, and I've been this guy the whole since day one with him, who you two guys were believers in him for a while. I don't know why. Especially
I was never a believer in him.
Was he? No, was it you then? For sure. Someone kept talking about
how good he was skating
at the beginning of the season.
I was hoping that he would do well, but I mean, it happens.
Yeah. He was a flash in the pan situation, and it could be like this goalie where a guy who never really got a chance finally got a chance. So he showed up, and then once he made the team, you started to get exposed for his weaknesses, right? But good for everything that's happening right now. The last thing I want to say about the little facts things that I wrote down. We talked about this before. Montreal and Arizona combined have three less wins than the Leafs. 4 of those wins are against the Leafs. So the 2 worst teams in the NHL have 4 combined wins against the Leafs. That's awful, and it makes me sick.
Yeah, well, don't look now, but the Habs are like 8-2-1 in the last 11.
And they're still in dead last.
Yeah, well, they obviously...
I mean, no, but
the beginning of the season,
they are playing well. I'm not going to take that away. They look fantastic. Good for them. So that aside, we had a couple more things here. The Matthews cross-check. In my opinion, I'll just get it out of the way, and then you guys can say your part. To me, it looked like they were jostling, and he tried to hit him in the shoulder hard, and he kind of leaned down, and it went right into his face. I don't feel like it was intentional, but I do think just the use of the stick as a weapon should be penalized. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah, I when I saw it live, I was like, yeah, that's going to be a suspension.
Yeah, you called it right away, actually.
I was like, yeah, that's going to be a game. I thought
today's hockey,
I thought it was worthy of one game because
Bargo said no games.
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was one game only for the fact that he never did anything prior to this. He barely even gets a penalty, but I thought that was worthy of a game. But on the flip side, good on him for defending himself, man. Like,
I like it. He's a big boy too. He needs to start throwing it around.
Yeah.
Okay. So Caps recently went to the outdoor game in Hamilton at Tim Hortons Field. Buffalo against the Leafs. That was a Buffalo home game, apparently. How was your experience there?
I thought I dressed for the weather. Apparently I didn't. It was cold. I thought it was an awesome experience. I tried to get a picture with the Stanley Cup, but it was already gone by the time I got there. It was I overheard somebody, I guess, that lives there saying, how come we never get this kind of attendance when the Hamilton Tiger Cats are playing, which I thought was kind of funny. But it was an awesome experience. There was a lot of Leaf fans there, a lot of Leaf fans. I think I saw more Habs jerseys than I saw Buffalo Sabres jerseys. It was a cool experience, man. You know, an outdoor game. Recommend it to anyone. It was awesome. It was really, really cool. Legends were there. I saw Doug Gilmour. I saw Wayne Gretzky. Would have been nice if I was actually able to meet them. But
I mean, yeah, I'd like to meet Wayne Gretzky too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was cool, man. It was really, really cool. The guy behind me, I think he was a little off. but he started chirping, and then at one point he yelled out, "I got $50, $50 for the on the Leafs to win the Stanley Cup this year." And we all looked back and we're like, "Yeah, okay."
That's called for crazy right there.
Yeah, but it was really, really, really cool. Really, really cool. Literally and figuratively. Recommend it to everybody.
Bargo, you've actually been to an outdoor game.
Yeah, it's a neat experience.
I mean, the stadium you were in was far larger.
Yeah, and like I had deep seats, so like it was like far to see the rink, but like you can still see good. But man, it was cold and it snowed like crazy.
That was in Detroit, right?
Yeah, I was in Michigan Stadium, the college stadium, I think it is.
Yeah,
in Ann Arbor.
Yeah,
that was good. I think it would have been better like to go to the Hamilton one, and
I would have liked to go to the BMO Field one.
Yeah,
that would have been nice. But those
going across the border, I got hassled on the way back and stuff. But
I mean, it's probably a lot easier to get tickets if you're going to Michigan or Hamilton than it is if you're going in downtown Toronto trying to get tickets at an outdoor game. It's probably hard, you know. I'd like to see them do it in Skydome, crank that roof open in the winter and just let it go.
That's actually not a bad idea, though.
Yeah, I mean, I'd take it. Does anyone else have anything Leaf related before I bring my question into play?
I'm good.
All right. Okay. So I have asked you guys a question. Again, this has become a weekly thing, and I don't mind it. So, what currently working NHL coach do you think would work best behind the bench for the Toronto Maple Leafs?
I'll let you take that one.
Robbie Brind'Amour.
Ooh. Wow. You got any reasoning behind that?
I just like what he's done in Carolina, like getting the young guys going, getting the whole team kind of going, everything like that. I've seen a few clips of him in the locker room, like animated, calling
his
too. Grandfather or his grandmother and saying like, yeah, we did it. We made it this far. We won the playoff series and stuff like that, and showing the team. Like, I just think it's cool. Better than some stuff I've seen behind the Leafs locker
room. That's a really good pick.
I like it.
That's a really good pick. Other than Rob Brind'Amour, I'd probably go with Sutter.
Not a bad choice.
Because there's nothing for him. There's nothing to be taught in terms of offensive ability, but he could sure as hell teach him how to play defense. So, you know, and I believe that he would make the necessary changes, and I'm not talking about trades or anything. I'm talking about benching people if he has to, or calling up people, making the necessary changes in order for the team to play like a true team.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
So I think I have a good pick then, because it kind of blends both worlds for you guys. It's a guy who seems to have adapted to modern hockey. He has a winning pedigree, but he also brings that kind of old school style a little bit. I think Barry Trotz would be fantastic on the Leafs bench. I think he's exactly the type of guy they want, because he's like a player coach. These guys are a little bit like, they don't like to be pushed around, it seems. But at the same time, you're going to play his way. And he seems to do really well with that modern style of hockey. And I think that's what the Leafs play. And he's done it well on every team he's ever been on. So, I mean, I feel like that would be a good coach. I mean, I like both of your guys' answers. Like, a lot. I didn't even think about Sutter. But Brind'Amour is a great choice too.
Barry Trotz is a. I think they even tried to. They were even looking at him at one point. But it's just like this year. Maybe it's player personnel or depth or injuries or whatever the case may be. But it just they're kind of having a bit of a hard time over there in New York.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have ups and downs, but I mean, like, just looking at what he did last year, I feel like that alone with the Islanders, like, he's just a solid coach.
Yeah.
But I mean, like I said, that's 3 really good answers. I'd take any one of those coaches over whatever that guy's name is.
That works on coaches, right?
Yeah. I mean, Sheldon Keefe, the AHL team needs a coach.
AHL, double A, triple A, maybe.
ECHL. Anyways, that's all I have. Guys, let us know
SHL.
what coach you would pick. If you've made it this far, what coach would you pick for your team? And thank you for watching.